Here we go with the AI. And here we go with the cloud recording. And that is the official start of the call. Welcome, everybody, to the Ask a Holistic Cancer Coach weekly call brought to you by BeatCancer.Org here. The date is the 1st of January, February, March, April, May. It is May already. Wow, look at that. And yeah, this is our first week back after having a break last week as our staff and some of our coaches were with us at the Beljanski Integrative Cancer Conference down in Austin, Texas, which was a ton of fun, a lot of fascinating topics, a lot of fascinating people there, great vendors, great people, and overall a fantastic time. Um, yeah, quick housekeeping. As a reminder, nothing that's said on these calls is intended to diagnose nor prescribe treatment to any particular medical ailment or matter. We can talk about generalities, we can talk about modalities, we can point individuals towards resources, but we are not here to speak to specific circumstances too in depth. For anyone that does have a more in-depth circumstance that they'd like to discuss with a professional, you are welcome to contact us to get in touch with our naturopathic doctor, Dr. Randy Shane, or you are encouraged to take advantage of speaking with one of the many fantastic holistic cancer coaches that we have trained, certified, and support here at Beat Cancer, some of which are on this call with us right now, and several more might be joining us. So, yeah, they will conduct a thorough intake questionnaire, and you really get to know you as an individual or whoever you are wanting to get counseling for as an individual before making any specific guiding recommendations. With that, I will introduce myself. I'm Zachariah Frank, the COO here at Beat Cancer. I am joined by Carl, of course, the CEO of Beat Cancer, and the man responsible for keeping the mission alive for a whole decade, really by himself, which is super fantastically impressive. So I am going to turn it over to Carl for any additional housekeeping as I tend to the live stream here and some of the technical stuff.
Yep, just a couple other things to add. Please keep your mics muted while other people are talking and avoid having side conversations. The other thing is if you have a question, you could either write it in the chat or use the icon down below, the raise hand icon, and we will address the questions in the order in which the hands go up. So that is probably the last bit of housekeeping.
Awesome. As a reminder, we are on Zoom, of course, but we are also live streaming on an assortment of social media platforms such as Facebook, X.com, Rumble, and YouTube. For any of our friends watching on social media, you are welcome to join us on the Zoom itself by going to BeatCancer.org and clicking on the weekly call button right in the top menu bar. There will be a button there to join us right here on the Zoom. But if you are on social media just catching the live stream there, that is totally fine. You can participate by putting your questions or comments right in the chat section wherever you're watching. We will be monitoring those as well and addressing any additions there as soon as we can. So, yep, back over to Carl.
Okay, well, whenever you're ready, I got a topic maybe.
Awesome. We are ready. Let's get on to it.
Okay, so I guess it's popular news and everybody's aware of the food coloring situation. So I just wanted to maybe open that topic up, food coloring, what you know, how it relates to cancer or other ailments, and what you think about what's going on in the world today.
Awesome. So over to our coaches. What do we think about the food colorings situation? I see a hand from Jane.
Well, this is not the first time that I heard about it. Actually, of the change in getting rid of the dyes. I think that for so long we were not really putting the emphasis on what goes in our bodies, particularly with children. As a teacher, it made me absolutely crazy that in the cafeteria, they would actually have a vending machine with all these sugary energy drinks with all the food colors. And so I was aware that about 6 months ago, they were supposed to get rid of red dye, but not till 2028, which well, it's far, but I understand it gives the manufacturers time to use changes. However, if it makes us aware to look at everything, because there are alternatives out there right now. You can find things that instead of red dye have paprika added or red beets added. And it's certainly great that we're going in that direction, because it is one of the causes, I think, not only of cancer, but of autism and of many other concerns. When I was teaching, and they would want to put a child on medication just for ADHD or something like that without an objective testing, they didn't even discuss, well, why don't we look at the changes in diet first? So I am happy we're going in that direction.
Yeah, speaking of the ADD thing, teachers wanted to put both of my children, my boys, on ADD medicine. And there is no test. They just basically
Right.
got the say-so from the teachers, and then sent them to the pediatrician, and there was no test there as well. Just maybe filling out a little bit of a questionnaire, but there was no actual definitive test. And
Carl, that's what made me crazy as a teacher. I would go to these meetings and, well, where's the object? And basically it was, okay, so the kid's starting trouble, according to them, maybe asking too much questions, and let's put a name on it. But the fact that there was no objective testing to put a child on medication made me crazy.
yep. And the teacher actually had the gall to say to me, if your child was having trouble seeing the blackboard or the whiteboard, they were computerized by that time. Wouldn't you get them glasses? I almost jumped across the desk at her. I just couldn't even believe my ears.
Yeah, how about moving the child closer
Yeah,
to the
right.
mic? How
Yeah.
about that one?
How about adjusting your teaching styles to
Yeah.
deal with kids that have a little bit of energy? So, okay, we got two hands raised, and I think Annette was next. Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome.
I was just going to say that there are studies that have shown that, I believe it was red dye 40 is carcinogenic to humans. And then there are also two other dyes, and I believe they're yellows, that they found in animal studies that were also carcinogenic. So there is a link that they have found in research to be able to back a lot of what we're seeing, especially in the media and everything right now. With banning these dyes, there are legitimate reasons behind that. There are studies been done. I think I saw one in like 2012 that was even bringing this up back then. So, and they have been linked to those. And then also, like you guys were discussing too, they've been linked to neurological issues, behavior problems. And I mean, if we really think about it, those are food items that we were not ever meant to really consume. Again, they're an ultra processed food, so it kind of makes sense that it might cause issues with the human body.
Yeah, I think on and all those dyes are still on the GRAS list, generally regarded as safe. And I think if they want to get rid of anything, they should abolish the GRAS list, because most of the things on there were put on there before the 1950s, and they found out a lot of them are carcinogenic since and haven't taken them off the GRAS list, which is amazing and astounding. And uh, I can't even think of a good adjective to use for
Yeah,
that type of non-scientific behavior from the science community. So yes, thank you, Marionette. Kathy.
My first thought is it's about time, right? I mean, I know walking into Johns Hopkins in the pediatric oncology unit, you have red, Hawaiian punch, you have red popsicles. They push this stuff, with all the dyes and all the terrible things. And, talking about ADHD, it's interesting because my son was also his teachers said you need to have him tested. And what I found in doing some research is in public schools, the majority of kids being diagnosed are boys. And I know with my son, he was a visual learner. He learned differently, not to stereotype, but most girls, like my daughter, could sit and be lectured at and just took notes. Everything was color coordinated and organized. But my son was more like tapping on the walls, kind of squirmy. He was more of a visual or kind of hands-on learner. And I think, our public schools teach to one style of learning and that's it. And if you don't fall within that style of learning, then I feel like you're labeled ADHD or whatever. So, um, yeah, I'm very glad to see that that's getting the attention it deserves, the red dyes and all the dyes.
Yeah, style of learning is even a generous term to really ascribe to it. Really, they teach to one style of submission and behavior, but you know,
Yeah,
that,
yeah. And to add to that, I'm not sure where it was, Finland or one of those countries, Norway. They actually addressed that issue by making taller desks, like the type you sit at science class, and with taller stools. So the boys could actually get up and get off their chairs and they're still in their place. And they didn't look like they were standing up or anything. They just were still in their place and they could fidget around and they learned much better. And they're getting rid of all the other things like gym class and reducing recess times and things like that, where the kids can burn off their energy. But
But
yeah,
and it's interesting too, because I took him to his pediatrician. I followed the rules, okay. And he's like, well, he's a little bit ADHD. I'm like, is that like being a little bit pregnant? I mean, how do you, it just doesn't make sense. It just feels like they just are trying to medicate our kids for no real good reason.
yeah,
and there's still no long-term evidence or of the side effects of those drugs like Ritalin. Um, what happens to them in 15 years or longer when they're on this for that amount of time. Yeah, Jane, we see you keep raising your hand. You want to jump in? You're on mute.
And when I retired from teaching in 2018, and I will say, as a public school teacher, they were very, very big on teaching different ways for different children. So at least at that time, that was a very big push. And teachers had a lot of professional development on visual learning and different types. And we were instructed to teach in different ways for different children. So I think that has come a long way, at least where I taught.
Yeah, not for my kids.
Yeah, yeah.
My oldest had IEP. He needed extra attention. And it was a fight to the point where we almost had to sue the school to get the help that he needed. And they knew that he needed it. And they were just every year they were trying to take him off of the IEP. And it was a struggle. And I know others
Yeah.
that actually did sue the school, our same school district. And our school district is very, very popular. People move across the country just to be in our school district because it's a well-known school district. And it's just shocking to me the level of I don't know. What I wouldn't call it incompetence, I would call it unwillingness.
Mhm.
They make it hard for you to get the help that you need. But
Right.
the topic is food dyes, and we're talking about food dyes and the effects of them and how we're feeling about the new initiatives that are being introduced at the
Well,
top
now
levels now.
I have a question. Why is it going to take so much time okay, so
Because
they decided that,
corporations
they're
are
bad.
fighting back. The
That's what I figured.
corporations are
Yeah.
saying that it makes their food look unedible. I mean, if you think a Fruit Loop looks edible, I don't know. But They managed to get the Fruit Loops, their food industry managed to get Fruit Loops to the top of the food pyramid, the things that are healthier than, well, they said it was healthier than steak, so it just I don't take any of it seriously.
You know, it's a matter of education. I get Easter baskets for my grandchildren, and they all had healthy snacks, and there was not one food dye in there, and they got things like raisins and crackers, and guess what? They were thrilled.
Yeah.
So it's an education process that we need.
Yep, it's an education process of the parents that needs to happen for
Right,
sure.
but then we have to educate the parents, and it should
Right,
be through the
right.
schools, really, or community or something. I don't know where to start it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's hear from some additional coaches on what you think about what's going on with the food dyes of today.
I think Becca nailed it with the lobbyist comment. That's true. Where the money flows, the attention goes, for sure. Uh, but yeah, any other coaches?
I was just gonna say, I think it's great in a way that people are actually coming around. Like finally, I think there's enough people shouting or saying that this is enough. If we get enough people looking at those labels, that people are gonna stop buying the things that are not, we don't want. Like for me, I'm re-looking at all the labels again. So for me, it's just about the awareness. And I wanted to bring up the app that I haven't heard anybody talk about it lately, but it was such a buzz, was Yucca or Yucca, Yucca. Did we talk about it on this call?
We have. I think you might have brought it up, but I have it right on my phone.
Yeah.
The
So I don't think it's the end all be all, but I think it gets people a tool to at least start looking at the ingredients and educating themselves.
Yeah, it's definitely a good start where you can just scan the barcode or whatever, and then it comes up and it's like not safe. Don't eat that.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point, Becca, in that, ultimately what matters is culture. And as, shifts are going on in the political sphere and in the media sphere, at the very least, more attention is being brought to these matters, like what's going on in the food, in the chemicals, in the colorings, etc. And, beyond what shifts happen in the political sphere, beyond what laws and regulations do or don't get passed, we, the people, always have the capacity to vote with our dollars. No matter what is allowed to go in the food, we don't have to purchase XYZ foods if we know and realize and understand that they are nothing short of poison. So, that's ultimately, I think, the empowering position to focus on. It's the empowering place to spend our energy in raising awareness, in voting with our dollars, because no matter what's going on with the legislators, we have that choice and nobody can really take that away from us.
Yes,
Well,
I 100% agree.
yeah, definitely one of my happy dreams is that we cause enough awareness through Beat Cancer, but we're still little. Um, that eventually we're not necessary or relevant anymore because people just get it. But the idea is that if we can cause a stir now in the adults that have children, by the time the children are old enough and they're the legislators of America, they'll already have this ingrained into them, and the policies will be made because they already know what the truth is.
Yeah, and I was just, whoever said our kids, like, well, I have a 14-year-old and I'm showing him, he's like, this is the yogurt I'm eating. And he brings it up and it says 0, right? I see 0 and my red flags go up. I'm like, anything that says 0, you have to look at the ingredients. It's marketing. I said 0 means shitty sugar. But however, we did turn it over together and look at the label, and it was stevia. So I mean, that was better than other things, but yeah, it's understanding that those labels or the front of the packages are marketing, trying to get your attention. And that 0 label throws people all the time.
Yeah, that brings up a great point. I saw some graphic artist, I don't know what social media I saw it on, but He takes things that are really, really unhealthy and redesigns the packaging so it looks very, very healthy, like candy corns. It's pretty hysterical. But there's a lot of that kind of marketing going on where people think they're actually getting something that's healthy for them that is not.
Yeah, I've got one more thing. Have you guys ever done the celery test? Have you seen the celery with the red dye,
Oh
blue
no.
dye? Oh, okay. That's a great one. So you put a celery stick in water with those dyes and watch the celery like literally
So
die.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
try to find it and send it to the group.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Becca. Did you find that? Oh, the celery.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, there it is. See that red dye? Look at that celery.
incredible.
Not looking so good.
Delicious. We want red dye celery.
Yeah.
And if you don't get enough in your foods, they sell you little tubes that you can throw into your cake icing and whatnot.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
whatever. Make your cupcakes red or blue or whatever. Yeah, Jane.
I just looked up this, the Yucca Food and Cosmetics, and something very interesting happened to me with cosmetics around the eyes. My eye doctor gave me this whole thing of going a holistic route and making sure that makeup around the eyes is free from any preservatives. And they had a list of 20 things that, because it goes and is absorbed a certain amount, it goes into the eyes. So I thought that was very interesting that now the eye doctor's office is promoting getting makeup for the eyes, at least, that is, it doesn't have the dye. So I'm wondering if this app also does that, because it does say food and cosmetics.
Well,
And still gets it's the
Zach made a
Yuga.
great contact with a company that has not makeup but skincare that's from tallow.
Okay. Where is it? It's on our site.
We'll put it in the chat, but
Yeah.
Okay,
ancient
thanks.
something, ancient wisdom. What is it, Zach?
It's Ancient Healings, and yeah, there is a blog post from them on the Beat Cancer
Is
website.
that is
I'll put
that
it in the
a
chat.
is that a line of products?
It is. They're a small company just run by two guys. They hand make themselves the like
Okay.
formulas and stuff. And yeah, they have an assortment of products, anything from deodorants and lip balms to soaps and bunch of stuff. Toothbrushing powder. They have a lot of different things.
Yeah, I thought I saw them in Sprouts for a calcium out of eggshells. And I thought, well, that's interesting.
That
Oh,
would be awesome.
that's my
I
chickens
don't
get
know if they're
vaccinated.
in Sprouts, but
Okay, I'll look at when you send the link over. I'll see if it was the same.
sure.
But wildflower is like that too. But makeup is the more challenging one. How to find makeup without.
Yeah, there's clean options out there, and as time goes on, there are becoming, more and more to meet the demands.
Yeah, because our
Okay,
skin
so
is
the
the biggest
topic is
organ.
I'm sorry, Becca.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, our skin is our biggest organ in
Yeah, and
reality, and all the
everything
stuff you
soaks right in.
slather on it.
Yeah, yeah, everything soaks right in too. So we talk about the shower filters to dechlorinate your water because chlorine gas is the second most caustic to what is it, cyanide gas. It's pretty bad. You think about being in a steamy shower with chlorine water, right? So yeah, but the topic right now is the big one, food dyes, and we have a couple more coaches and other people on too, guest. Let's hear from some people.
Awesome, and if there's no more on the topic of food dyes, we can move on to another segment.
And somebody put in the chat laundry detergents. That's a big one. Yeah, there's chemicals in everything. I think one of the first things that a cancer coach or even our naturopathic doctor will have you do is a full inventory of your house and just clean up your environment. And I think Maya is probably a good one for this.
Yeah, that's when I make everything from scratch myself. Because
You make
that's
excellent, excellent stuff from scratch. Your dinner was awesome, by the way. Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all from scratch, by the way. Everything was made from scratch. Yeah, when it comes to all the cleaning supply, including cosmetics and everything that goes on the body, as Becca said, that skin is our largest organ. It goes straight to the blood and then to the liver for filtration. So it affects directly. When talking about like colorants, they're coming up with different names. You have to be very aware of that, what names are. They're coming up with the names like sunshine yellow or, something like that, that does not, would not look like artificial colorants. So that's another thing that we have to be wise, because people are getting tricked from so many ways. And not just the colorants, but many other ingredients, including in the shower, our shower hygiene supplies, everything. Like toxins are everywhere. We had a podcast, by the way, a few weeks ago on toxins and skincare and hygiene pad, diapers that contain so many chemicals that absorb through the skin into the bloodstream, and what to pay attention and how to, get a better supply that's available. I would say that since I started making my own products, especially when it came to the skin products like skincare, I have such a great experience with just plain simple homemade like creams, whether it's based on tallow or based on coconut cream, it doesn't really matter, but I do have such a great experience with them. And I've been using them more than 7 years, I would say around 7 years that since I started making them myself. So before I used to buy expensive and try to get natural, and every time when I put lotions, it would still dry my skin. But since I start making my own, it doesn't even dry my skin or anything. And they contain two at the most, like 3 ingredients. Very simple, very basic, and it's very easy to make. Like this is like what people have to, and if you make it once, it's gonna last you for 7, 8 months. I don't know. For me, it lasts me a lot. I make a batch and it just lasts me for between me and my daughter. It lasts us a long time. So just don't be lazy. Everything is available online. You can look it up. You can find. I'm actually doing like working on making some skincare products, but coming to cosmetics like eyeliners, eyelash, mascara and blush, everything. I want to minimize it to not minimize. I want to make one so I can use, my daughter could use, and has no preservatives at all. So that's something I'm working on right now, because I don't want to have any preservatives in it at all. And information is available online as long as you find, as long as you do research and find them, how to use them and use natural colorants. So I'm gonna play with it and see where it's gonna take me, as as the way I played was creating, like making my own detergent, dishwasher, like powder, everything. So they work fine. I have no problem with anything. Actually, I like them better than any other store-bought, dishwasher liquids or bathtub scrubbers,
Yeah,
it's very simple. It's very simple and it's very easy to make them at home.
absolutely. And then this way you know they're made with love, right?
With love, yeah. And I
It-
know
it-
they're clean. I know they're clean. That's all that
it's
matters to me.
shelf-stable. That's amazing that your creams and products are shelf-stable.
They are shelf stable. That's so interesting. And they have no preservatives at all. and I use them 6 months, 8 months sometimes. I make a batch and it lasts me 6 to 8 months. And they are shelf stable. But actually, Annette, I gave some to Annette to try, right? Yeah, you're muted. Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. My husband even started sneaking some of it, so I might have to get that recipe from you, Maya. But it was wonderful. I was actually starting to have issues with my skin drying out so much, just changes in environments from, moving from one state to another. And you you gave me that, my skin just started glowing. Like it was just like moisture was back. It was just wonderful. Yeah. And now
Because
it
of the
smells.
natural, yeah, because of natural
Mhm.
fats,
Yep.
they absorb through the skin and they, repair the skin. So no preservatives at all, zero.
It's
Awesome. Thank you very
wonderful.
much. Thank you very much, coaches, for that addition. We're going to go over to some new friends. I see some new friends joining us here on the call, I think for the first time. So we're just going to go around to the couple names that I haven't seen here before, and I'd love to know what brings you out tonight. So let's get started with Miss Andrea Tesor. I do know who Andrea is. We've spoken quite a few times now. She's considering becoming a holistic cancer coach. And in many ways, she does already act as a holistic cancer coach. So, Andrea, welcome to the call. I'd love to hear from you and introduce yourself to the group. And yeah, what's on top of mind for yourself?
Well, Zach, thank you so much for having me and part of this group. I really, really appreciate your information has been fantastic. Sorry, I cannot actually use my streaming with not put my picture, but I am overseas right now and my internet is very unstable. But actually, I have my brother that is going through glioblastoma, and I actually has been you have been of a great, great support, especially with all the information that you have been providing. So I want to say thank you so much for having me a part of this group. I really
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being here. And while you have the floor and you're here in front of and with several of our existing holistic cancer coaches and other students, is there anything that you'd like to ask of the group or learn more about from the group?
Um, I would like to know specifically in regards to um, the chemicals. My brother's actually taking temozolomide, um, and I know that it's extremely toxic. And what would people kind of, or any of your counselors would recommend that would help the toxic effects um, of this medicine?
Awesome. I didn't catch the name of that medicine, but if any of our coaches did, of course, we're not making a specific recommendation for any particular circumstance, but if anyone has information on that medicine and what they know of it, please do feel free to share. And just can you say the name again, Andrea?
Yes, it's actually, let me spell it for you. Actually, I have it right here. It's T as in Tom, E M as in mother, Ozolomide.
So yeah, that over to our coaches. Has anyone ever heard of that medication, and does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I have a question. Is that part of chemo drug or
Yes, that's
chemotherapy?
correct. Yes,
Okay,
they're pills basically, and
okay.
it's specifically targets um I guess like this type of cancer.
You said glioblastoma?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, the aggressive one.
Okay. And did he go through radiation or just the chemotherapy?
No, he did both. Apparently, that's the protocol that they have in place. And it's extremely toxic. Yes, and he also had brain surgery as well.
Okay.
So,
The best detox is fasting, but it all depends on his weight, you know, if he lost a lot of weight or did not lose weight. So a lot of things matters. The dry fasting would destroy destroys cancer cell. Cause autophagy faster than the water fasting, for example. But it all depends on him, like how much he can fast, how long he can fast. That would be the simplest way of detoxifying the body from chemicals. Milk thistle, dandelion roots, those are very strong for the liver to help detoxify. And of course the diet,
Yes, I believe the diet it's definitely something very extremely important.
Yeah. There's a few people now are surviving glioblastoma by going to ketogenic diet, very strict ketogenic diet with a high fat consumption. So they are outbeating all the odds and living longer. I know a couple of people who lived more than 11 years,
Really?
Yes. So, but I highly recommend looking up Professor Thomas Seyfried.
Can you, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Professor Thomas Seyfried.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. Thomas Siegfried,
Yeah,
yes.
he talks about it a lot. So about glioblastomas, brain tumors, and ketogenic diet.
Okay, yes, I did. Thank you so much. I really
You're very
appreciate it.
welcome.
There was a
Thank you.
whole movement that started in 2017. A bunch of doctors were figuring out with that specific type of cancer, it's called tripping over the truth, and it was all about ketogenic
Yes.
diet.
Even like going even like a strict carnivore does even better gives even better results going very high fat, a moderate protein intake, and no carbohydrates at all. It's been showing a great result on glioblastomas.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
welcome. Sure.
Thank you, Zach.
Awesome. Great to see you, Andrea. Great to hear from you.
Glad you're here. Thank you.
Yeah. I see an additional name that I have not seen on these calls before. I'd like to go over to Mr. Bill Buvens or Bovens. You are welcome to unmute yourself, hop on camera if you are able to and comfortable doing so. And we'd love to hear what brings you out tonight. Mr. Bill B.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, Bill.
Well, I'm trying to get the video off. Let me see if I've got that. Let me see.
Yep,
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Looks
All
like
right. Well, thank you. I appreciate. And your name is Zach, correct?
That is correct.
And let me say why I'm here. Okay, because I got you guys' email. I've been on you guys' list since, let me see, June 30th, 2024. I got an email today. It said tonight, ask a holistic cancer coach weekly call. I said, I'm available. Hey, let me log in and go to it. And here I am. So
All right.
why I'm here and why I'm into this. In 2001, 24 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon with liver metastasis. The doctors told me I'd be dead in 6 months if I didn't have chemo and radiation and possibly surgery. If I did all that, the odds of me surviving 5 years still between 15 and 18%. That was 24 years ago. So I created my own protocol. I talked to I don't know if you know Dr. William Donald Kelly with the proteolytic enzymes. I called and talked to Dr. Kelly, who is a real giant in the cancer industry. I talked to Dr. Kelly in 2001. I think he died of a heart attack in 2005. I read a transcript that Max Garrison lecture he gave in 1956 in Escondido, California, when he was out there on vacation, talking about his protocol and the necessity for the coffee enemas. So I developed my own protocol, and that was 24 years ago. And by the way, somebody here mentioned Seyfried and the tripping over the truth. Personally, I think ketogenic diet, on theory, if cancer feeds on sugar, you want to have low carbs, and so that's keto. But I don't think that's the way to go personally, because in my opinion, in Garrison's opinion, and even Dr. Kelly's opinion, the carrots are really good, and carrots are not keto, but carrots are very anti-cancer. So strict keto, in my opinion, is not good for an anti-cancer diet. You want, in my opinion, you want to flood the body with phytochemicals and phytonutrients to help. And in my opinion, you want to detox the body, you want to boost the immune system, and you want to, yeah, that's basically it. Okay, so Zach, so I'm here. I saw that. And I say, hey, let me see what you guys do in the coaching call. So I don't know if you know Nathan Crane. Nathan Crane interviewed me in his podcast. Then a gentleman named Chris Wark, W-A-R-K, he interviewed me in his podcast. That's probably got 200,000 or 300,000 views. And last week here in Austin, where I'm at, there was the Beljanski Integrated Cancer Conference. I went down to that and met some people there. A good friend of mine, his name's Robert Scott Bell. He was there. And so I'm just about to publish my book, and I figured, and I'm going to have a program myself. I figured, I'm figured, hey, let me log in here and see what you guys are doing. So, and that's kind of where I'm at, Zach. Personally, I'm welcome to answer any questions you may have, but that's from a high level. That's sort of where I'm coming from.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, glad to have you out. So many things to respond to in what you just said, but first and foremost, you raise a fantastic point, where for every person that said that they have, had a success on a ketogenic diet, there's those that have had success including carbohydrates in their diet. And so, here at Beat Cancer, we don't emphasize that there's one protocol that's just going to be the end all be all. Matter of fact, we talk about the opposite. We have coaches even right here on this call that are more on the carnivore ketogenic side. We have coaches that emphasize a plant-based diet full of carbohydrates. So I think it's important to table all of these concepts and all of these possibilities because there are success stories that are plentiful in all of these directions. And then this way, most people, or the most people possible, get the help they need. In regards to the Beljanski conference, actually, we were down there ourselves. Myself, Carl, Maya on this call, a couple other coaches here may have been tuned in virtually. But yeah, we were down there too. So
Yep. And,
Cool.
we know Nathan, we know Chris.
yeah, Nathan actually went through our holistic cancer coach certification program at a certain point. I forget how many years ago, but
Yep.
yeah.
And so did Sylvia Beljanski, by the way, and some of her staff and some of the staff that works with Nathan Crane also took our course, and they created a whole program around it.
Yeah, but that's awesome. If you have any links to the interviews that you just mentioned, definitely feel free to toss them in the chat. If you know how to do so and are able to do so, I'm sure people might.
Yeah,
take a
I
look
wish
at
I
them.
did. I'm pretty technically I'm incompetent. No, that's my words, not yours. And you'd be too considerate to use those words, but it's true, Zach. But I'll try. I'll
Yeah.
just say, I mean, there's somebody that works with Chris named Jody, and she's tracked long-term survivors. I guess it's good to define what success means. Is success means, but to me, success means cancer-free for at least 10 to 15, 20 years, long-term.
Yep.
And so there's no, or success would mean there's no recurrence over an extended period of time. To me, that's what defines success. You've completely eliminated the threat of cancer and you've maintained a lifestyle that keeps it away. And that's how I would define success personally.
We would agree.
So, but I'll put the I mean, I see there's 12 people here, so there's not that many people that might benefit from this. But I'll put the interview I did with Chris. I mean, actually, it was kind of nice when I was down there. This nice lady ran up to me and said, "Are you Bill Bevins?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, you spoke to my husband and I 2 years ago," and it's really nice when you talk to someone and you don't realize what it can do to someone's life. They were there. They presented on Sunday as a stage 3 colorectal cancer survivor, and I think her name was Labey, Savannah Labey, and Zach Labey. That was their names. Well, okay. Well, like I'll put that link to that in the chat. But I don't adhere to carnivore to get rid of cancer. I don't adhere to keto to get rid of cancer. And that's just me. It's my choice, my where I come down. But I respect anybody else what they want to do because it's their body, their life.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Well, while you were chatting, I did find some links to the episodes that you mentioned. So I did put them here in the chat for anyone on the Zoom. And yeah, as a reminder, in case you weren't here at the beginning of the call, there might be a handful of people on with us, but these do get recorded and then posted to an assortment of social media platforms where people might be able to catch the replays that haven't that didn't have the opportunity to join us live.
Oh, that's great, Zach. I just found the interview with Chris. That's one that's got at least a couple 100,000 views. Let's see here. I'll put that in. Let's see here. Again, I'm technically pretty incompetent, but let's see what I can do here. So I hit chat, and then tap, paste. Okay, did it make it?
Yep, looks like it made it.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, that's my interview with Chris. It's about an hour interview. How I got rid of the stage 4 colon with liver metastasis. I did a 90-day juice fast, 3 to 4 coffee enemas a day, and then after talking to Dr. Kelly, I incorporated in '01. I incorporated proteolytic enzymes because it made a lot of sense to me what he said. Dr. Kelly, it was great. I had about a 2-hour phone call with Dr. Kelly, and that's who who was it? That's who Gonzalez studied with, and I guess Linda Isaacs, who's now still in Houston. So they learned from Dr. Kelly, I believe.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
glad you made it out, Bill.
Thank you, Zach, very much. You're very hospitable, very welcoming, and it's really heartfelt. I sincerely appreciate that. I mean that sincerely.
Absolutely. You know, we're all about getting as much information as we can to the people that need it most. So, you know, we always appreciate guests hopping on. We do meet mostly every Thursday here at the same time. So do feel free
Cool.
to send the
Well,
link around and share it around to anyone that you think might be interested in a chat about these kinds of topics.
Yep. And
thank you, Zach.
please get in contact with us through support@BeatCancer.org. Yeah.
Carl, you said support
Yep.
support at BeatCancer.org.
.org. Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's a 501.
It is.
C3?
We're almost 50 years old now, and we've been
Wow.
Yep, and we've been talking about this stuff before there was even the internet to find all this stuff when there was no information, and now we're separating the wheat from the chaff when there's too much information.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice at this conference. That's the first one of those conferences I've ever been to. I really had a really nice time. I really had a nice time. I'm going to want to go to more of those. It's really nice. I'm sorry I didn't know about you guys. Did you guys have a booth?
We didn't have a booth this time. We were sponsors of the event, but we were just kind of floating around and interacting with people just throughout the event. If you're looking for another event recommendation, in February each year is the Annie Appleseed Project Conference down in West Palm Beach, Florida. We do sponsor that one as well, and we'll probably have a booth next year like we did this year. And that's another fantastic conference of the sorts.
Yep, lots of great
West Palm Beach. I read Ann Wigmore's book. I was doing 6 to 8 ounces of wheatgrass a day, which is, if you know, that's a lot of wheatgrass. I think I met them. That's Hippocrates. I met them. I think they're from West Palm Beach too.
Yep. And they were there at the event too. The
Belgians. I stopped by their booth and chatted with them. They were down the hall more towards, instead of in the room to the left, they were off to the right as you walk in the hotel entrance.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was great. Well, gee, that's great. Annie Appleseed. Yeah, my friend Robert Scott Bell, who was also there. I don't know if you know him.
Yep. I got them in touch, actually, them and Annie Appleseed for our next year's thing.
Excuse me, Carl.
I'm sorry. Annie, the people from Annie Appleseed and Robert Scott Bell, I got them in touch during the conference so that he'll be down at the Annie conference next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, when is that conference?
It's in February, typically.
February. Okay, well, maybe I'll be there.
Yeah, great.
My book will be out. My book. I've already got 991 people on the wait list ready for my book. Because Yeah, because if you go to, I have cancerfreeblueprint.com. If you go there, you can sign up on the wait list. It talks about my book, and I'm not here to promote that. Sincerely, I'm not. But that's how from that people are hearing about it. From hearing about it, I've been able to get almost 1,000 people on my wait list right now. So, yeah. But Scott told me there's an event. He told me in, I think it was somewhere in Tulsa.
Yeah, I don't know that event. If you can
Yeah.
remember it, send it to
Oh,
us in the email.
I'm sorry if I can remember what, Carl.
If you can remember it, send it to us in the email.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think it had to do, I can't remember who was promoting it, but okay, but that's the one that Scott mentioned to me, the one in Tulsa, which is the one he's really going to be focused on. Okay, well, T, thank you so much. Again, you also, Carl, really feel welcome by you guys. That's really nice.
Thank you. Thank you for
Awesome.
showing.
I did a quick search, and that might be referring to the Society for Integrative Oncology conference in October this year. That looks like it'll be in Tulsa. So perhaps that is it. Not sure though. But cool.
Scott, I know Scott, Robert Scott Bell. Scott, I know him for 35 years. I always call him Scott. He goes by RSB, but it's to me Scott. And he mentioned somebody's name who's gonna. I can't remember it. I'm so sorry to be ignorant like that. I'm so sorry. But that's the one he told me about. But the Annie Appleseed, though, I'm familiar with. I've heard that before, and that's in. And I'm sure if I Google Annie Appleseed
Annie Appleseed Project.
project in West Palm Beach, I'll find that. Okay,
Yep,
that's
you'll
great.
find it for sure.
Yeah, let me ask you this, if you don't mind, either you, Zach, or Carl. Once my book gets out and my program gets out, what is the best way to make the people aware of that?
Well, come to us and we'll make that a whole separate conversation privately and we'll work with you.
Okay, but come to us, that means just email support it.
Yep, email support. We'll set up a whole other call.
Okay, sounds great. Sounds great.
Yep.
Sincerely. I'm
Yep.
so glad I looked at my computer today and saw the email. I said, hey, I'm here. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. This is a great opportunity. Thank you guys. Sincerely.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to, as we all well know, I think there's one thing we can all agree on. Far too many people leave this world prematurely from cancer. I mean, I think we all can agree on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we're all here to make that otherwise.
Yep. Yep. Our job is to become irrelevant.
Yeah. 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 Well stated.
Awesome.
Well,
Well,
thank you.
thank you very much, Bill, for joining us. You never know how
Thank
these
you,
calls
sir.
are going to go. Sometimes we get a real cool guest on, and hopefully, the rest of our participants had some fun and maybe learned a thing or two listening in along the way. I know I sure did. We have a couple more minutes before the top of the hour, just enough time to hear a quick chime in from any of our other participants or coaches. I do know iPhone, I think is Craig, and Dave is accounted for. And who is iPad number 2? If there's anything that you'd like to share with the group, what brings you out tonight, and if there's anything that you'd like to ask of our group here, I welcome you to the mic, iPad number 2. And I'll leave the floor open for a few seconds here. Someone said, is it good to take mushrooms in the chat? Well, that is not a question that anyone can particularly answer because we don't know what someone's circumstances are and what mushrooms are we talking about. Certain mushrooms will kill you. Certain mushrooms might help. So that is a difficult question to answer, my friend in the chat.
We
Without
did
some additional.
address that last week. We had a big topic on mushrooms, or not last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yep. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. With that, it does bring us to our closing moments. Any last minute chime-ins, anything that our coaches would like to share? I see a hand up from Jane.
Bill, you mentioned what success is. And I just want to say to you, from everything that you're doing, you're already a success. I mean, the success just in taking control and doing things differently and analyzing what you need to do to go forward, you are a success every day. And I think it's just so important for yourself to give yourself that credit because you're doing an awesome job.
Yeah, absolutely. Great.
That's kind for you to say, Jane. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Any last minute chime ins from any of our coaches here? We'll go once, go twice, and that will wrap us up for the evening. Thank you everyone for joining us on our first call back in the last couple of weeks. It is May 1st and it is the first of the month. Start this month healthily, happily, and moving forward wherever you're at in your career, in your health. Let this be your possibility to start anew and move forward and make it the best month of 2025 yet. As a reminder, we do meet every week on Thursday at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For anyone watching the replay on social media, if you would like to join us live on the Zoom call, you can do so by going to BeatCancer.Org and clicking on the weekly call button right at the top. Do feel free to check out any of the other links that we have right there on the website. Whether you're looking to take advantage of the free counseling services that we offer for cancer patients and their families with our in-house naturopathic doctor, whether you're looking to do some reading through the hundreds of wonderful blog articles we have on an assortment of health topics, or whether you're looking to become a holistic cancer coach yourself and either coach yourself or your loved one, or even build a career out of being a holistic cancer coach. You can do all of that and more through our holistic cancer coaching program. If any of you have any questions, you can always contact us at support@beatcancer.org, and we'd be more than happy to address anything that you'd like to share with us. With that, I'm going to head over to Carl for closing thoughts before we hop off, and I thank you all for being with us here tonight.
I think we're good. That's my thoughts. Have a great week.
Awesome. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, and we will see you